I think I was a typical Bedouin kid, really. First generation to learn how to read or write. Born in the desert, basically. Got to America because of government scholarships back in 1976. Because I was good in math and science and not so good in writing long sentences in English, so I avoided psychology, sociology, anything that's so equations. Yeah, math, physics. Okay, I was also a Saudi school. They have two different high schools, science or literature. So I was a science major, so it was easy. But I liked number, and I still do. So anyway, I ended up in nuclear physics and mathematics. And once I graduated, I went to graduate school. And in America, you have an advisor normally. My advisor was at that time Dr. Johnson, Professor Johnson. I'm sure he's passed away, bless his soul. And I applied. In America at that time, you apply a bunch of schools. And I want to do more of engineering. I would switch to engineering, do graduate degree. And I got accepted in a bunch of universities. Except one in Fresno, California, because in nuclear engineering, you have to be a U.S. citizen. But I wasn't. So I was accepted in Wisconsin and Princeton. So when I told my advisor, Dr. Johnson, he said, "You crazy? Anybody get accepted at Princeton? Who will look at the rest?" Because you said Stanford prestigious. Princeton is even more, because that's the university where Einstein died teaching. That's the university where the atomic bomb of America was developed. Right. That's the heart of the nuclear engineering. So I did my master in nuclear fusion, which is also another strange thing. It's not the old fission, which is the standard nuclear, but the combining of atoms. Worked in the nuclear industry for a number of years in the US, and then got bored with it, research and all that, and left and worked in Texas with Shell Oil for about 6 or 7 years. And then did my MBA at Stanford. Stanford normally famous for Master of Business Administration. So I did a degree in finance, but after working for almost 7 years, which was, in America, that's the standard things. They want kids or guys, girls to work a number of years before they do MBA. And that's what I did. And then I came back to Saudi Arabia because my mother, bless her soul, insisted I have to come back. I wasn't frankly planning to come back. Mother, because she was the only one living. My dad died when I was a week old. Wow. So for me, she was basically, with my uncle, she was everything. So when she insisted I come, I had no choice but to come. And then the rest is history, worked in different companies, restructured companies, did all kinds of things. Saudi economy is huge. It's the 14th largest stock market in the world. So you're talking about a huge economy. And in trillions of riyals, so billions of dollars. So we're significant, but if you compare it to the economy, we're big, but not that big. Economic and GDP sense of the Saudi economy, because Saudi economy is just too huge. We're conglomerate. We operate along 3 main lines. One is PetChem, we call Strategic Business Unit, SBU. We use the language of SBUs, which basically polyethylene, polypropylene, ethylene, propylene, acrylic acid, superabsorbent, butyl acrylate, and so on. And then we operate on titanium dioxide, where we are the world second, third in between. Each year, these number changes, depends on production or revenue. And that titanium dioxide is stuff that goes in paints, basically. The majority of it is you buy in your car or in your house or something. And the third is a downstream, where we actually make all kinds of stuff, from chocolate wraps to milk bottles. We make metal, we make axial for 18-wheeler trucks, we make 1.5 million units of car batteries, acid-lead car batteries in Saudi Arabia, and we export also most of the Middle East and even to Europe. And now we're enter the titanium business production, and we will be manufacturing soon 10% of the world titanium metal, which is a very strategic metal goes into planes, nuclear submarines, and stuff like that. So we are going to start it with the Toho of Japan, our partner. And the plant is in Yanbu and Jizan. It's a not significant tonnage-wise, 18,000 ton. But if you know the whole world production is only 180,000 ton, so you become big just because it's a very not easy to make, and it's a very strategic metal in the industry. Actually, all the other companies except Alba, where I still is on the board. The rest is really assignment I took when I was with SABIC, and then I left, or after 2, 3, 4 terms, or 3 years, 6 years or so, you change. So a lot of them I moved away. Now I'm only on Saudi Airlines. I'm on the board of Saudi. I was on the Supreme Economic Council, advisory committee of the Supreme Economic Council of Saudi Arabia. And
you've left that now?
We left after 6 years. And now basically I'm in Alba, I'm in Ma'daniya, which is a company we own, publicly traded in the Saudi stock market. I'm in Al-Inma Bank in Saudi Arabia, also publicly traded. In Matoki Marine Insurance Company, which is publicly traded. And basically, that's the companies I sit on. The Board Director Institute, which is a non-profit organization, which is my contribution to the society in the GCC. Back to your question, I would say I wear technically 2 hats. One is an engineer, scientist, and one is a finance guy. So I've done a lot of SABIC deals over the years, from GE Plastic, 11.6 billion, to financing SABIC sukuks and bonds and huge debt and all that. And then I left SABIC in 15, moved to Tasniya as CEO. I was in SABIC as the Chief Financial Officer, and then moved to Tasniya as CEO. And Tasniya, we've done a lot of things. We restructured the company. Was difficult in the beginning, but thank God now we're back to profitability. We're doing very well, and the company now will start expanding. And it's great to see, coming from really a difficult situation in a corporate life, where you have to worry basically about your survival, to a point now where you are looking to expand. And that's really positive in the world of business. Restructuring of a corporation is not an easy. It's not for the fainted heart. It's something that's not pleasant, but has to be done. And I've been through these different, from Hadid, the steel company in Saudi Arabia that's owned by SABIC, to SABIC Europe, to SABIC SIP in America. So I've done a lot of these things. They used to call it the butchers in the game, because you have to go cut staff, restructure, close offices, close businesses, and so on. Because you reach a point as a business, like a human being, God forbid, you have a cancer in the hand, so you have to choose. You're going to cut your arm to save your body, or you're going to go with your arm. Yeah? It's a choice we all have to make. The most important is to be honest, first with yourself, and honest with the people you manage. You cannot hide away the fact that restructuring is going to involve unpleasant things. We like it or not. That's the reality of life. And so you have to communicate and communicate and communicate the things to the people. And saying, yes, we might let some people go, but we're not going to throw them to the wolves. We're going to take care of them through certain packages and so on. But like I was once asked by a journalist a few years ago, I think it was on Hadid in the 90s or 2000, that you let go more than 1/3 of the workforce. I said, yes, but that's not the question. You should ask me the reverse. I saved 2/3 of the workforce. So rather look at it negatively, you should look at it positively. Is you call the glass half empty or half full? So the name of the game is to save the business and to save the livelihood of the majority of the people. Business is not a social organization. Business must make profit. Profit is simply revenue minus cost. And if the revenue not going up, cost must come down, and vice versa. So this is something, honesty with yourself, communicating the right things. and really sticking with the plan and doing it professionally. And you must lead. A CEO of a restructured business must lead personally. He or she must take the bull by the horn and really must run with it. You cannot delegate that to consultant. The biggest mistake I've seen in my career, not only in Saudi or the Gulf, but also in America and in Europe, is you hire a consultant and you tell them, go and make this business good. Well, sorry, that does not work in the real life, because consultant doesn't know your business as good as you are. And that's something you as executive CEO must keep in front of your eyes. And you must target that thing and stick with it. And of course, you do it methodically, logically, you follow the steps. And if you shoot for higher targets, and you might settle for a little less, but shoot for high. Don't shoot for less, because expectation always higher than you will achieve. A lot of times in my life, I've seen achieving higher than what the plan was. Because when people rally, when the troops comes, you will be amazed how much can be done. You know, it's a multiplier. Positive change is a multiplier in the organization. Honestly, I've been through the good and the bad days, and I think it's exciting, honestly. I'm not young anymore. I wish I was, to see the change. This is something my generation really wanted to see. Opening of the country, doing things, giving people opportunity, including women, doing the things. We were unfortunately stagnating for many, many years, I would say 30 to 40 years. And that's not healthy for a country, not even healthy for people. Imagine yourself sitting all the time. You'll get fat and you get sick. You need to move. And I think the country is finally moving. Yes, there is pain with change. Change doesn't come free. You know, when you change anything, a small company or a big company or a country, which is even bigger than a company, there will be some changes. There will be also some losers and some winners. And a lot of losers of the old system were going to fight to keep the old ways. But unfortunately, in any country, I don't care if it's Saudi Arabia or America or whatever, old ways must give way to the new ways. The world is changing, we like it or not. And we must change with it. Or if we're smart or lucky, we change ahead of it, not with it. So we are ahead of the game. And I think what's happening in Saudi, honestly, exciting. It's great. It's good to see young people in charge of the government. It's good to see things happening, women driving, open opportunities for everybody, get into the country easier, open social network, having concert, having things. I'm not saying everybody's crazy about it. I'm sure there are some. But I'm sure what I've seen, the majority are for it. And economically, it's the right things to do. You know, people complain about increase in power or increase in water or this, that. Yeah, I agree, but you cannot also keep it so low, subsidize it forever either. The economics at the end of the day is going to win, we like it or not. And everybody must pay at least the cost of something plus a little margin, so that whoever makes that stuff make a little profit. Because regardless if you're government or private, you're gonna, if you don't make money, a profit, you're going to go under sooner or later. And Saudi, unfortunately, in the past was not looking at the economic side of the business or the cost side of providing service, of doing this, of doing that. Finally, we are. And that's the right thing to do. I'm really excited, and I think it's a great time for the country, for the people. And it's really, I see the future as bright. Is it going to be a problem in the transition? Of course. Change always create some problems. But these things will pass away, and the good time is coming, if it's not coming already as we speak. So I'm very extremely positive. Saudi today already exists 100%, George, by the way. Right. It does. Not maybe as easy as Dubai or Bahrain, but it does exist. I know some friends in large corporations who do have 100%. The GEs of the world, the Siemens of the world, the Exxons of the world. They do. They do. Is it easy as Bahrain and Dubai? No, I wouldn't dare to say that. However, I think it's coming. And Saudi is the real economy. Let's face it. You know, Dubai, Bahrain are great. I take nothing away from them. I love them. They're our country. They're our home, my home. I'm a Dammam guy. I'm from the GCC anyway. So, but the real economy is Saudi. It's the big money. It's the big population. It's the big land. I mean, that's the law of geography. We like it or not. I honestly think the most important thing is to control your cost. Most important, control your cost. Try to promote your local content, both employees and product and consumption. Try to target your local market. And also try to take risk as much as you can. Of course, unreasonable is unreasonable, but no guts, no glory. There is nothing comes without risk in the real world of business. I sit on boards of banks, insurance, and manufacturing companies, both in Saudi and outside Saudi. And yes, you have to take some risk. Young people must, but also their expectation must be realistic. You don't expect to be rich tomorrow. In the past, in Saudi, we used to have Saudi come into the workforce 30 plus years ago and want to be the manager the next day. Well, I'm sorry, you cannot be a manager the next day. That's the reality. You have to know the business before you lead it. That's the reality of life. I lived in America long enough, worked in America long enough. I know that this is not a culture of entitlement. It's a culture of earning. Do you want to be a manager? Fine. Show me how you're going to be, how you earn it. It's not entitlement. So that's, I think it's good. I think SMEs is good, but don't expect also SME to succeed. In the real world, the private equity, where I did some work and run some of them, the success rate actually is around 10%. And that's good, because that's the nature of that business. You know, venture capital and private equities and things like that, SMEs. But there's always, people come back. And if you fall one time, don't give up. Stand up and try again. If you look at the stories of all big names, from Steve Jobs, bless his soul, to others, you'll find they did not succeed from the first time. No one does. Yeah, sure. I think he's right. It will definitely reduce the cost of Alba significantly. It's, you know, Alba is already one of the largest smelters in the world, one of the largest producers, not the world largest producer, because a lot of the producers are integrated. We in Alba are not integrated into the bauxite. Only integration in this part of the world is in Ma'aden in Saudi Arabia, where they have the mining, the refinery, and the aluminum smelter. We're just aluminum smelter. We buy our stuff from alumina from Australia, from different countries, you know, in the world, Brazil and what have you. So yes, I think he's right. It will be a game changer. It will improve definitely the cost structure. But we also have to work on our cost structure. That doesn't mean your cost structure is somehow came down. That doesn't mean you are the best and the lowest cost producer in the world. If you look today what's happening around us globally, years ago, if anybody told you you'll build an aluminum smelter in America, you will laugh. Because gas was like $10, $14 a million BTU. Today, gas in America is between $2 and $3 a million BTU. So America today is extremely competitive. Extremely. Because you not only have the energy, but you also have the market. You have the finance. You have the know-how. You got it all. So now, you know, a competition to us and Alba and others, even in the chemical, in my line of business also, the Americans are very competitive. And we cannot just hide behind, like the giraffe, bury our head in the sand, you know, like, and think it's just going to disappear. No. We have to continue controlling our costs. We have to improve our productivity. We have to improve our product quality in order to compete globally. And the world is more and more competition always makes things better, but it makes it also difficult if you are not really that competitive. And my advice to most of the GCC companies is control your cost. Our cost, honestly, is not the best in the world. And we have to face it. We have to control it. If we don't, we find ourselves losing like others did in history. This is a fact of history teaches us. We like it or not, that's a fact. I think more opportunities. Imagine just women driving. How much opportunity created for buying new car, fixing car, legal, insurance, banking loans. It's a huge multiplier in the economy. You know, for me personally, I have an 8 years old girl, Alia, and I'm happy to see her to go to drive, and I'm happy to her to go without an abaya. Why not? She needs to feel normal like everybody else on earth. There is nothing in Islam or anything that you have to say that you cover yourself with black. That does not exist. I'm sorry to say to anybody. It doesn't. So there is equality in life, and it's time overdue change. I'm glad it happened in my lifetime. I'm happy to see the good future for my daughter in the future, that she's a lady, she's a smart girl, only 8 years old. But that's great for any father in my position. You call me a liberal? Yes, I am a liberal. Nothing wrong with that. So what? I don't take that label these people said liberal or conservative. It's whatever you think is right. In the past, you have half of the population more or less out of the market, except buying few things like clothes, jewelries, and things. Now you have that 0.5% enter in the market, buying a car. What does it take? You go to the bank, you go to insurance, you go to mechanics, you go to this. So that's create a big multiplier in the economy. You know, so that is a huge significant. Women working. You have two income families. Today's world, we like it or not, most families cannot afford one income family. We need a lot of things that we did not need in the past. So we need two people bringing money to the house. And so this is required. And when you do that, it creates opportunities for businesses, from buying new things, buying bigger houses, bigger flat, nicer flat, decoration, changing things, new cars, new things, travel, and so on. You know, more money does add a multiplier in the economy. And at the end of the day, economy survives by circulation of money. And that's what it is. I think this cultural things is oversold and over-exaggerated. Totally over-exaggerated. I come from a Bedouin family. What is more traditional than a Bedouin family? None of my family is against this. Everybody is happy it's happening. And these are a bunch of Bedouins a few years ago. And they're happy to see that. It's a human nature. It's a logical thing to happen. It was just stopped. We were working against logic. Thank God. We're going back to logic. I believe in the American saying, you work hard and you play hard. So, you know, I work hard. I think most people who know me that I do. I wake up early, sometimes stay late. But when I take a vacation, I try to close off, enjoy myself. Although I'm not saying I'm perfect, still my wife complains that I'm always in my mobile, emailing. Yes, unfortunately, we do. But the older I got, the more I got more relaxed and enjoy life a little bit and disconnect a little bit. But, you know, it's a matter of time management. We're all busy. But if we manage our time, we can do a lot of things more than what we really think. Because there is a lot of time we can spend, and sometimes we get ourselves busy with little things that adds no value. But if you really prioritize the few things, you have this board or you have this. And, you know, people like me been in the business long. A lot of these things you don't need, you know already. You don't study 100 pages to understand this thing, because you came from finance, you came from engineering, you came from operation, you came from business. That stuff you know already. You worked for it, actually. It did not come free. You spent the years before, 25, 30 years of your life doing that. So now you actually almost can do things with your eyes closed. I was joke one time when it was asked me about SABIC. I said, look, being a CFO of SABIC for almost 12 years, you reach a point where, frankly, you can do things with your eyes closed. I said, if you repeat doing the same, or same more or less, a little bit here, but after one thing, you find that you've done all the sukuk you want, you've done all the bonds you want, you've done all the bank debt, you've done all the rating, you've done all this. And frankly, you reach a point where it just, and that's why I left. I got bored, basically. I love the open mind, the hospitality of the local. I'm conflicted because I'm from Anak near Dammam, between Qatif and Dammam. We have family in Bahrain, being Al Khaldi tribe. We have a lot of cousins here. So to me, this is like home. It's just more free. The social restrictions are a lot less. You can let your hair down. You can wear your shorts or whatever you want without the qutra and agal and the thobe that sometimes. Now Saudi is becoming easier, but I'm talking a little bit nostalgic, a little bit behind. But, you know, I love the Bahraini people, and a lot of them are my cousins and my relatives, so I don't feel I'm different, honestly, than the local guys here. Personally, I've spent most of my life in the business world. What I really want to do is contribute back to the society. I do give management, leadership, finance classes sometime at the University of Petroleum and Minerals as a social contribution. The BDI, Board Director Institute, is also another social contribution. I think we reach a stage in our life where you need to give back to the society. Through either education. I don't believe in just giving money. Money, if you give it, just gets wasted and go away. The most important a person gives is their time. The most valuable things. I don't care. Money is just a waste. It just disappears. I like to give my time. Isn't giving classes in university at some time, giving lectures, speaking, helping other people. I do in Saudi and sometimes also here in Bahrain and even in Dubai sometimes. And that's really my thing is to pay back the society. You know, I'm not the youngest anymore. I wish I could say, but I still feel young. But you have to admit the law of biology. So we all do. We all go through that. So I think it's power, position. You reach a stage where these are not important anymore. You know, so what's important is family, your life, living pleasant life and enjoying and making sure you really, honestly, the most important, you contribute and give back to the society. That gave you a lot.